Let's talk some scandal, some stupid opinions, Terry, which you and I love to divulge in. Nelson Solomona is suspended for the grand final, I think justly, because he's done it 36 times this year. People have come out and said, he should serve it next year. Tell me why that is the dumbest thing you've ever heard.
I think people are going on about like the whole Talon May got a suspension for the following year because he was injured or whatever, and Latrell Mitchell's serving a suspension in round 1 next year, I believe.
Yeah, because he wasn't fit to play.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm in two different camps of like if a suspension is going to cost a player a grand final, maybe you can turn around and say to him, you can miss the grand final, or we can double it next year. But then you run the risk of someone going out and just like throwing an elbow at Nathan Cleary in game 1 and getting sent off or sin binned or whatever, or in minute 1, sorry. On the flip side, it never should have got to this point with Nelson, and I think the match review committee and the judiciary system and the process needs this whole overhaul, because during the year you can offer a player a fine or a suspension, and unless you're Ryan Madison, most of the time they're going to take the fine. So what happens then is they take the fine, but they get carryover points, and they get carryover points, and they get carryover points, right? And Nelson does dumb things on the ground, on the field, because he's an enforcer, and he, there's a line, and he loves to push that line as much as he can, and he will take an $1,800 fine or a $3,000 fine. And this is the thing: he's done 6 things this year. 6 things. Nelson has gone. The match review committee have turned around and said you can have a suspension or you can have a fine. And Nelson's paid 6 fines. It's the 7th offence. The 7th offence of the season for him. This is why he's getting suspended. So on a case like him, I'm happy for him to miss the grand final when you go back and you figure out how many times that he's been a prick. If you were to throw this on the flip side, right, and hear me out as to why I think this could be a good option, right? Say Isaac Yeo did that tackle. The same tackle. Isaac Yeo, who has not been in front of the judiciary for about 2.5 seasons or not had a fine or anything like that for 2.5 seasons, but that was going to rub him out of the grand final. Do you not think it would then be able to turn around and go, okay, clean skin for 2 years, bad situation, copped a sin bin, you can serve your suspension in round 1 next year, but you can play the grand final. But someone like Nelson on your 7th offence, no, it doesn't count.
It's got to be all or nothing. Can't be making, because there'll be someone, they'll go, in year 10 he was a school captain and he helped an old lady cross the road, or the someone shined a laser in his eye 3 years ago and that counted for suspension. You open in a huge, I get it. You open a can of worms, but that's why the carryover points are there, because Yo wouldn't be suspended for this. He would have copped the fine like Nelson did.
But if they had hit Yo with a grade 3, he would have been suspended.
If you get a grade 3, you got to be suspended. I can see why, and I did come in combatively hoping you would argue, but you hit the nail on the head. You telling me that it's 70th minute and it's 16-all. Oi, Royce, go take out Cleary. Elbow to the face, gets rid of him. He can't kick the field goal. We go down and score. Royce Hunt can miss 8 weeks next year, but he's lining up for the grand final. Absolutely not. Some coach, some player will take full advantage of this and will be left with egg in the face. The difference was the Talon May thing happened in the preseason. The NRL ifed and ended, and even though they got footage, they were, but they left it too late. And to suspend him for that would have been like, and do not get me wrong, I'm not going to cry any tears for him or in this incident, but the NRL had to own that. And they're like, oh, sorry, we should have suspended you 8 weeks ago. You should be back by now. That's right. And the Latrell tried to use the system and failed. So that's why that's next year. I get those. But for someone to come up and say, Nelson, look, we know you've done it 6 times previously and you almost killed a bloke, and you probably, some people said it was a send-off, not for me. I was happy with the sin bin. But you knocked him out, and Lindsay Collins didn't play a single minute after that one tackle involved in. You can play the grand final next week. That just doesn't sit right for me. I think people are overcomplicating it.
But the thing about it is, this is probably the least offensive thing that he has done in the year. Like, we've seen him pick up dudes by the back of the head and slam his full weight into the ground and cop a fine for it. We've seen him elbows on the ground, elbows up when he's running. He's knocked people out when he's running that way. And then this is probably the one tackle from Nelson where you turn around and you went, well, it's only happened because they're both tall.
True.
Right?
But
if the judiciary system had the balls to suspend him during the year, he wouldn't be in this situation now.
he could have taken any of those suspensions and said, look, I'm going to learn from this. I'm taking a week off. Of course, that's ridiculous, but that's what we're talking about.